Did you expect anything different? I mean, a backup quarterback going against a young rising star. This was to be expected for this Jet game, unfortunately, and that's the problem. We just come to expect this. You just do. And I'll talk about one of the few bright spots in this game, but I'll just get right to it with the biggest question on Jet fans' minds. Why hasn't Adam Gase been fired as another NFL coach? This time Dan Quinn has bit the dust. And look, there's no easy way to put it. The Jets are not firing Adam Gase. They've made it clear they're not firing Adam Gase. I don't technically agree with them. I just think that this team needs a refresher, a reboot, and I get where the Jets are coming from in the sense that, look, who's going to replace him? I mean, Greg Williams in this defense is just as guilty as being just as bad as this offense. There's no great succession plan. I get that. Prediction, they'll get rid of Gase at the bye. Jim Bob Cooter or Greg Williams finishes out the string. They do it at that time because then they would have, in their opinion, given Gase a fair shake, even though now he has more double-digit losses in his career than wins. I am not making this up. That is just, it's just horrendous. And look, the Jets now 0-5, the first time since 1996. We all know how that season went. This point, it's just finding who can play and just getting ready for a complete reboot and just trying to put things together for 2021. And it's hard to hear that. As a Jet fan, it's hard to hear that. You don't want to hear that. You want to hear that this process is going in the right direction. And I understand that it's addition by subtraction, but I believe Joe Douglas can put things together with a competent coach. And really, Adam Gase is not a competent coach. And you look at it today, and to me, that's what pisses Jet fans off the most, is it's the simplest things that don't make sense. Like, for example, going for it on 4th and 1 today. I'm usually aggressive. I want my team to go for it on 4th and 1. But when you're down 7-0 early in the game, just take the points. Just take the points, because if you somehow find the end zone, you have the lead at that point. Instead, they don't get it. And this is the other thing, too, is just the usage of the running backs is driving me nuts. It's driving me freaking nuts. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here. Like, I'm sorry, but if Adam Gase, if you want to finish this season and add any credibility to your name, because there's zero right now, develop these young players. Develop these young players. Show that you progressed them a little bit or that you brought them into the NFL. How is P. Ryan, and we keep hearing that P. Ryan's supposed to be the most explosive back you have in this backfield. We keep hearing that P. Ryan is going to be a very good back. And from the short samples we've gotten, because Gase doesn't want to use him for whatever reason, he looks like he's got something. I want to see more of him. And I think Jeff fans at this point, like, let's see what the young kid can do. I don't need to see 55-year-old Frank Gore run the ball. He gets way too many touches. I am sorry. Frank Gore should be used in short down situations. If it's 3rd and 1, like, I don't know, when they're on the 13-yard line trying to get to the 12, hand it off to Frank Gore there instead of Wesco. It's like the situations Frank Gore should be running, he's not in. Or use him in pass protection because he's a good pass protection, he's not in. And Le'Veon Bell, like, I know they're trying to ease him back in, but he's probably the best receiver, not the second best after Jamison Crowder on this team. And you saw it after the game. He was liking tweets about people saying, hey, he wasn't getting enough touches, and he was liking all those comments, and I agree. Look, Le'Veon Bell is a unique football player. He's a running back, yes, but he's also a great receiver. And right now, the Jets, if I'm the Jets, I'm using P. Ryan in the backfield and Le'Veon Bell exclusively in the slot. Like, look, I'll still give Le'Veon Bell 10 to 12 carries, but with my receiving core as bad as it is, where 2 back-to-back plays, Joe Flacco throws perfect balls and it goes right through the receiver's hands in the end zone, I need to get as many good receivers out there as possible. Bell's a mismatch against linebackers. He's good in the slot. You have Crowder on the outside. And then you can use P. Ryan as another receiver or use him out of the backfield. just it gives you options. Like, could you try a jet sweep with maybe Le'Veon Bell, like coming over from the wide receiver position? Could you try to use him as a receiver? Especially when you talk about how you don't have depth at wide receiver, yet you have a good one in Le'Veon Bell. He's a wide receiver. He's not just a running back. Use him like one. And this drove me nuts. And for anyone who ever says, like, how can Adam Gase drive you nuts as a Jet fan? And if you're seriously asking that, like, I don't know how you're a football fan of any team, but did you hear what he had to say? And this is one thing that irks me about Adam Gase is, and I don't think he'll ever learn because he's got such a big ego, where he has the gall after, once again, the Jets get their teeth kicked in by 20 points. And he has the gall to say to the fan base, hey guys, you should trust me because we're having great practice. If you saw these guys at practice, man, you would be impressed. They look phenomenal. Hey, Adam. I just want to let you know something. We don't watch practice. We watch the game. And what was it that Allen Iverson once said? We talking about practice? We're not talking about the game. We're not talking about the game where you just got your teeth kicked in. We look good at practice. Are you serious right now? Hey, Adam, what was it a couple of your players said a few weeks ago? Oh, yeah, we don't... what was it? We don't practice hard enough. And I know they were defensive players, but you're the head coach. So a few weeks after your own team called you out saying we don't practice well enough, you're saying to this fan base, hey, you should trust me because guess what? Our practices look great. Well, guess what, Adam? We don't watch practices. We don't care about the practices. We don't care how it's made. We just want it to be made great. I mean, if you were at a restaurant and a chef brought you an absolutely disgusting meal, it wasn't prepared correctly, it was undercooked, it was in a disgusting marinade, and you said you wanted to talk to the chef and say, look, this food's terrible. What happened? He said, oh man, I gotta tell you, the guys in the back, they did a great job preparing the food tonight, man. It was some of the best food you ever put out. And you'd go, what are you freaking talking about? That's what he feels like with Adam Gase right now. It's like a restaurant. We don't care, and we don't necessarily care about seeing what's going on in the kitchen. We care about the meal that is presented to us. And right now, the Jets, you're trying to sell us that you're making a gourmet meal, and right now, it's not even ramen noodles. I mean, it's cold ramen noodles that haven't even heated up, and they're still crunchy. I mean, that's what the Jets are right now. I mean, if we're using a food analogy. So let me try to get some positives in here. I know they're few and far between. Don't worry, there will be plenty more criticism. But let's start with the positives. I mean, one of the positives for me was Flacco, I thought, played decent. He showed you that he can still play in the NFL. He showed better mobility than I thought he would have, and really threw the football well. And if I'm the Jets, you're not playing Darnold until he's 100%. So if Flacco has to play a couple more games, I don't have a problem with that. Get Darnold healthy. And I have another interesting aspect with Flacco too, especially if he plays well in the next game or two. Especially with what happened this last weekend where you saw Dak go down. We saw that was a catastrophic injury in Dallas. We saw Jimmy Garoppolo's not healthy. If I'm the Jets, I'm trying to play Flacco. And if he plays well enough, I'm trying to sell him. And I understand the value of having a good backup in this league. But with this team not going anywhere, and with Flacco really on a one-year deal, why not? This team, they're looking already forward to 2021. If you could get a decent mid-round pick or a draft pick, or if some team like San Francisco or the Cowboys said, look, we'll just give you a wide receiver that you can use for depth in the late draft pick, I'd make that deal. I mean, you're looking around the league right now. Teams are valuing backup quarterbacks more than ever, but in the Jets, they're not going anywhere. You know, at this point, if Darnold gets hurt again later in the year, or he can't go, you'll have James Morgan. I mean, what else are you going to lose at this point? I mean, you might as well try to get something valuable out of Joe Flacco. And I think it was great to see him play again. I thought he played better than I expected. And to be honest, he showed that this offense, it's more about the playmakers around him and the head coaching, because he looked pretty good in what he was limited to. And it goes back to Darnold. And this is the frustrating thing with Darnold, and why I don't think we're going to get a fair assessment of him is there's so many variables. Is it the players around him, or is it more the coaching? And either way, I don't think you're getting a great answer around Darnold. And I'll say it again, I think this team's getting the number one pick. I know the Giants lost again, but they made it competitive against the Cowboys. I don't see the Jets winning a game. And especially now, where you were kind of hoping maybe Tua would play in the two games and maybe the Jets could sneak a game over the Dolphins, or with the Chargers, maybe because they're so banged up right now. But now they're getting the Chargers later. They'll be healthier when they play. They get the Dolphins earlier. Fitzpatrick's playing well, and they just rolled San Francisco. Once again, I think the Jets are at best a 1-15 team. Maybe 2-14 in some crazy world, but I mean, let's be honest. And at this point, they should be playing the young guys. But one guy I do think that they should be looking in to bring back long-term is Avery Williamson. I know that they have C.J. Mosley on a big contract, but if you can get this guy in negotiations now and get him for a fair deal for 3 years, I would. I mean, this guy plays hard. He plays with great enthusiasm. He had the great pick today. He's flying over the field. He's one of the highest graded inside linebackers according to PFF. He's played very well coming off an ACL injury, and no matter what coach you bring in next year, I think it's more attractive on the defense to have Williamson with Mosley, because even if you play a 4-3 or a 3-4, Williamson can play an outside linebacker. He can play inside. He's just a good player and still pretty young, coming back from that ACL injury. I know that they wanted to move off from him last year. Gase did before he tore the ACL, but I'll tell you, he is playing very well. I've always liked Avery Williamson. It was one of the few signings by Mike McCagnon I actually liked, and he's played well. If I were the Jets, I'm trying to lock him up, because you need guys, and especially with a team that's this depleted of talent, they just need good football players. And I know you're hoping C.J. Mosley comes back 100% next year, and I think he'll be a great player when he eventually returns. But you just need good players on this team. The Jets have a drastic shortage of good football players. They just need good football players. So if I'm the Jets, I'm trying to lock him up. He had another good game against the Cardinals. I really love what he had to do, so I think he was a positive today. So if I'm the Jets, I'm looking to try to lock him up. But one thing I have to say is this defense in general, it's been a huge disappointment. Because let's be honest, Jet fans. Did we expect the Jets offense to struggle with Adam Gase? Yes, we did. Even if everyone was healthy, we expected this offense to struggle because we didn't believe in Gase. But I think a lot of us believed in Greg Williams and this defense, because you look at what they did last year, even with all the injuries, and certain staples, the run defense, they got thrashed by Emmons on a simple cutback. Their run defense, which was one of the best units in football last year, just absolutely shredded again today. No pass rush. Quinnen Williams disappearing in this game. I guess they didn't commit 8 personal foul penalties, so I guess that's progress, which is terrifying to really think about. We're making progress by not giving up personal fouls, but it's not good. And I put a lot of this on Greg Williams, because I don't know if the players just aren't listening to him anymore. I don't know if they're bought into him. They seemed completely bought into him last year. I can't explain it. It's the weirdest thing, because you saw flashes in the first week that this defense had potential, and since then they've been a sieve. I mean, Kyler Murray set a record for him, a career high for passing yards today. The game before, they were shredded by a third-string quarterback. I mean, they're giving up over 27 points a game. And look, I understand they don't have a lot of talent on this defense, but they have some. And this goes back to firing Adam Gase. I mean, you're really going to replace him with Greg Williams? He's been terrible this year. And I can't put my finger on it. Like, the effort just seems terrible. And I'm getting the feeling like the guys either don't believe in him or they're just not listening to him. And this is part of the problem with Greg Williams is when he first comes to a team, you see great initial success, but long-term success is very hard. And you wonder with his personality if it's a good adrenaline shot for a defense for a year or two, but then it just wears off and people just start to ignore him. So I'm wondering if that's happening early also because of the losing. I mean, it's a possibility, but going forward for this Jet team, I mean, this whole season from now on is, let's be honest, it's about seeing what Sam Darnold can do, but you got to wait till he's completely healthy. The same with Mekhi Becton. Don't risk it. Don't risk the future of these young players. See what the young players can do when Denzel Mims gets finally healthy. Give P. Ryan more chances out of the backfield. Stop running Frank Gore, God, like 15 times a game. We don't need to see that. And once again, like, I know Jet fans are going to be screaming, and I'm one of you. I get it. I want Gase gone as much as you do. I've been calling for his head since last year. But I know where the Jets stand right now and where Christopher Johnson stands. And I do think that the Dan Quinn and O'Brien fires have pushed Gase up. I think that the Johnsons were hoping that they could get through the year with Gase. But I think their hand is going to be forced at the bye because there's going to be so much negative energy around this team. There's going to be, I doubt, a win in the win column. And at that point, they're just going to make a change just to say, look, like, we're not going to accept this anymore. And we're sending a message to this locker room that you can be replaced. And if you're one of these free agents or you want to get out of town, you better play your butts off because you have to have some good tape. Because if you can't keep a job with us and we're right now the 32nd team in the NFL, who are you going to play for? I mean, that is something you have to consider. And it gets frustrating because the Jets, I think, have some good pieces with Becton. I think you see Crowder. You have good pieces. And I think if you have a good draft next year and a good offseason, you get the right coach, you see some good building blocks for this team. But there's too many times where the Jets have a great play and then they shoot themselves in the foot. The Jets have a great play, they shoot themselves in the foot. Or they just lose momentum and it snowballs. You just saw it in this game again today. They weren't in it. And look, Adam Gase, you're gone. And I get it. You quit on this team a lot with your play calling. Like calling a halfback dive when it's 2-20 something when you're down. Look, you have to realize, Adam, and this is for you. If you want another coaching job, not head coaching job period, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, college coach, high school coach maybe even, you have to show something because not only these players have to prove something, but you have to prove something for your football future because you've already failed in Miami and you are flaming out in New York. And whether it's right or wrong, and most Jet fans will say wrong, the Johnsons are going to give you more chance than you probably deserve. So you better show something, and the only way I think you can show that you have any potential coaching football ever again in your life is getting these young players to play well and showing that I can develop these young players or at least have them go in the right direction. Because I'll tell you one thing, Chris Herndon, first year, he looks somewhat like a promising tight end, and now he can't even catch the football. And Chris Herndon has been a huge disappointment. I know we're all disappointed in Darnold, but man, part of the reason is because Chris Herndon dropping easy catches. I mean, these aren't contested, and he got benched today. Ryan Griffin started, and once again, an opportunity for Herndon. And Gase keeps saying, oh man, if you saw him at practice, he looks great. Well, we have great practice players, but you need guys that actually show up on Sunday. And right now, Chris Herndon isn't one of those guys. So it's another week, another Jets loss, and you hope Darnold's healthy for next week. If not, play Joe Flacco. Now with the schedule moving around, they're going to play the Dolphins next. And guess what? I'm going to have a lot of thoughts and opinions about that game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button for Rich Sports Talk. You're not going to want to miss any of our Jets content going forward, including updates on Adam Gase and his hot seat, which I can't think of anything hotter in this universe than maybe the sun than Adam Gase's hot seat right now. So you're going to want to stick tuned to make sure we will give you all the updates on that. And of course, our updates on the Jets throughout the season, analysis to every week's performance, and of course, starting to look forward to the draft. And we're going to have some fun Jets segments over the next few weeks because we need something as Jet fans to look forward to. So all that and more coming on Rich Sports Talk. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because you're not going to want to miss any of this.